Good morning, everyone. So it's Wednesday, the 19th of October. Time ticking by. Before we get into the tracker, I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough on the website because I think some people are not aware of some of the features here. It'll only take a minute or so. On the live section, you can also get to the tracker and day by day, which is social media. But we've got a virtual regatta type race here. We've been too busy to push it really hard, but there's quite a few people out there racing the GGR virtually, and we'll get onto that hopefully later this week. We'll start explaining more about it. There's quite a race going on there, which is quite interesting. Video clips, photos, the shop. Now, we've had a lot of emails from people looking and wanting to get merchandise and stuff. We just simply haven't got the manpower and everything to do that. Dispatching is a real problem. To get one thing out costs about €35. So someone buys a hat, it's like a nightmare because we don't have enough turnover to do the thing. But there will be an opportunity for the shop coming, but it's still going to be probably another 3 weeks or so, maybe even 4 weeks before we get the shop up, just in time for Christmas. Media, that's for media accreditation there. Contact, that's pretty straightforward. Events, you can follow that through. We've got a pretty cool little schools program here. It's not big, again, we don't have a lot of resources, but Les Sables d'Olonne set things up here with some games and stuff for younger kids, so you can follow that there. And we've got kids about to, or children about to visit us here in the office soon in the next couple of weeks. Section there for volunteers. We've got half a dozen volunteers in Cape Town that are going to help us, and we'll be putting a call out for Hobart later. You might be able to help us if you're down there. The skippers, this is interesting. If you want to look at this is the current skippers that started the race. Some are retiring, but if you want to know about the others that actually entered and never got there, you just hit the down the bottom there, and now you've got all of the entrants from the race that applied and then retired for various reasons, medical reasons, not enough money, not enough time, all that sort of stuff. So you can actually go through there. And also you've got all the 2018 edition entrants if you're interested. Their profiles are still there, some of the storylines are still there. You can get to all the skippers there as well. So in the race section there's quite a lot. I mentioned this the other day. You've got the whole story of the 2018 GGR. You've got a forum there where you can join the conversation on various subjects. You've got the history, route, the rules. That's got the notice of race in there for this edition, and all about retro sailing. The news is actually then just about the press releases and stuff that we put out. So I'm just going to go back here to the homepage. And remembering scrolling down, you've got all the various live sections there, but one of the most important ones is next one down. You've got the current entrant onboard footage, and there's all of the whole file there. You hit that as we release them, and there's one virtually every day. You can look at that and replay those clips as well. So just going back there now, we'll get on to the where are we? Here we go. Get on to the tracker, and we'll carry on the conversation. GGR Live Tracker. Remember, you can get the app on your phone, but if you do get the phone one, we still get emails from people that are saying, I can't do this, I can't do that. On the app, on your mobile device, you're not going to get all of these features that we use here. Okay, so just remember that, but it's still fun if you want to track it wherever you are at any time, 24 hours a day, and I know a lot of people are already addicted to that. So here we go for today's situation. It's quite interesting. Last night we were looking just before we went to bed, and Kirsten had stopped. She stopped a couple of times doing like less than a knot. But you could actually detect some instability here because there's some sort of with the South Atlantic high forming up, it looks like there's some form of ridge here. You can see it, the wind is stronger, and preceding that ridge along here there's some instability, and there were some holes. I checked it on Windy T, the main Windy service, which anyone can get on, and whereas this is a constant sort of lighter green, there was much more sort of the blues were starting to come up, so she fell in a couple of holes. Pat did the same. At one stage he was only doing 3 knots, but now they're pretty much underway, and they're getting very close to the center of the high. Now this could look like a bit of a disaster for the leaders, because if they lock in here, there's no wind and it's going to come over them. But as we see, in fact, we'll keep talking about this high because it's going to dictate everything that happens in the next few days for most of the fleet. Certainly the leaders and the middle enders are all going to be affected by the movement of the high. So you can see Simon's on the leading edge there, which is not a good look. But if I hang on, I'll do a sort of an animation, you can see what's going to happen. So Simon right now has got, sort of there's a bit of south in the easterly. Okay, it's not. I'm trying to do an animation, but it's not working. Why not? Nope. Oh, I don't know why. If you're going to do an animation by clicking your left one, you've got to be off the actual start of the system. So it's now clicking through. So you'll see how the high is moving. It's coming up and it's going to the east, which is a good thing, because this is 24 hours later. I'll just get this up one more size and see if we can. Yeah, 24 hours later, Simon will be down here, and you can see now the wind is moving from an easterly. It's getting a slight northerly component in it. So within 24 hours, Simon will be down around here somewhere, and it's definitely got a little bit of east-northeast in it. Okay, and that's when he'll start hooking around. Abelish is the same. He's a little bit further behind. He'll actually get the swing quicker, because you can see he's further west of the high. So the further west you are, the more northerly you get in it, right? So you'll see Abelish start to come around just a little bit before Simon, but that's all a good move. And then the good news is for these guys, if we keep animating this, I'll go back one. Hang on a sec. Yep, this is taking a bit to explain. Okay. Come on, it's not. Not a good morning this morning. Out of the way. I've got to move that a little bit to get the animation started. Okay, starting to move. Oh, it's the internet catching up. So that was 1 day ahead. Now we're coming on to 2 days, and you can see it's clearly moving to the east. So that means as that's happening, Simon, as he's coming down, he can hook around, and these leaders are going to actually just follow the high across, okay, for the next 1,000 miles, because the high stops. This is now on the end of the 21st. Right, it's still moving east, but it just stops there. You'll see the weather now. This is the 22nd. It's not moving, which is great, because these guys will be following along. They'll have the northerly quadrant. They're not losing it. Okay, so it's got some north in it. And interestingly, as it gets further away, as the high comes across, you'll see up around Trinidad, the wind is already starting to get a northerly slant to it. So it's moving from an easterly, and it's quickly going into a northerly. So the mid-range fleet are not going to have to come as far south initially as Simon and Abelish and so on. They're going to get a hook really quickly, and so by the time Goog's down here and Damien, they're going to get a free ride. They'll start to cut the corner a bit, which will pick up a day, right? But it's not as simple as that, because here's Cape Town over here. If I keep moving that, right, you'll see, so in the 22nd there, it's still stopped. So this back edge is still sitting there, which is good, because they'll be coming across. It's just still sitting there, forming up, okay, and you can clearly see now that these guys, Tapio and Pat and so on, they can be coming across this way, and they've still got a northeasterly, right? So Simon and so on, who were down here, lost a few days, but they still got to get under it. They can't drive into it or they stop, so they're going to get down here, and we'll keep clicking. This might sound a bit complicated, but it's going to work out very well for the whole fleet a little bit. They're going to get a slight benefit from this. If we come back to Trinidad, the guys at the back of the fleet, like Edward and Elliot and Arnaud and so on, it's already now, right up here, it's already going into a northeasterly, right? So, because the high has moved so far away. So they can do a Matessia here. They can just cut straight along and not even have to go south, but they're eventually going to have decisions, but this high will have moved away completely by then. So by the time we get to the 23rd, it's still sitting there. And so we're now on so we got to get to the 26th. There's the 25th. This is where it gets a bit tricky now, because it's getting the influence at the bottom here, and this is assuming the forecast is going to hold true. But if we come, by the time they get the 25th, 26th, they're going to be 1,000 miles ahead. And there's about 1,000 miles. So Simon and Abelish are going to be up here wondering what to do, but they're still on the bottom side of it, and everyone's going to be converging across to to Cape Town, and then we keep clicking this across. Come on, it's not catching up. Nope, but you'll see here. Okay, big hole here, which might slow them up, but this is still this is a week away. I think they'll be just here. Anyway, that's probably enough of that, but you can see it's very traditional South Atlantic high for the next week or so. They're just starting to be affected by it, and it's going to give some advantages to the back end of the fleet, but I think Simon and Abolish may also have a nice ride across, so they're all looking very interesting. It might have been all a bit too complicated, but anyway, let's get into what everyone's doing individually. I hope everyone heard Simon's story about Trinidadian climbing the mast, which was a bit of a disaster. He didn't achieve his net result and got beat up a bit, and it sounded quite scary. He had to cut himself down. He couldn't get down from the mast, which was interesting. So anyway, so here we go. Simon's been doing 6 knots, pretty much hanging in, and you'll see him slowly hook around after the next 24 hours. Same with Abolish, 5.9 knots, 24 hours. He's done 1 nautical mile. So I'll bring that up because at times there's little glitches in the system. So if you look at the box here down the bottom where the 24-hour distance is, sometimes it happens, so don't worry. We get emails from people, oh, what's going on, she's done more than a mile, or he's done. It happens. We don't control the software. For YB3 do it. It's quite complicated, not super sophisticated. This is a standard process. We never had the budget to develop our own custom one-off program, and we wouldn't want to anyway, because this one's really good. It has all the features that we want, and the whole Yellow Brick system is really good. We're very happy with it, but occasionally you get a glitch, so don't despair if you see some wrong numbers occasionally. Okay, Kirsten, she's doing 6.3 now. She must have been really pulling her hair out here. You can see how the track has got a bit wonky there. That's when she wasn't moving. Pat's slowed down as well now, 6.6. Tapio 6.2. That's kind of cool. Damien's cut the corner. He's going to pick up in the next few days. There's no doubt about that because of the weather. Captain Goog 6.7. He's flying. He'll be happy with that. Ayrton's 6 knots. They're all giving interesting snippets. I hope you're reading the tweets. Kirsten's not telling us anything, not because it's top secret. She enjoys her solitude, which is okay, but we can't tell you a lot about what's going on board until the weekly phone call. So Jeremy 5.8, everyone seems to be moving. Guy, he was really happy when we spoke to him the other day. He's accepted the fact that his boat not be as fast as some of the others, but it's certainly enjoying the ride. Elliot screaming 6 knots. He'll be wondering why he was so questioning the meaning of life a few days back. Same with Ian, 6.5 knots. He's doing something. But anyway, good to see him moving, and Nord's paying off a bit. Quite happy to be back there and having fun. 4.6 knots. So that's really about it. It's all about the weather and this South Atlantic high. And if we look at the leaderboard, it's a bit distorted, but still relevant. Tapio's in the lead. Whoop whoop. He'll be it's a claim to fame. He's happy to be on that ranking, and Simon's slipped back a bit, but it's all very arbitrary at the moment, so it doesn't mean a lot because it's all got to do with the weather. Anyway, that was a long one, so thanks for all the comments that you put in. Good to